The funny thing is, we talk about what's developing around it and has the mural spurted on. We're not sure, but it really is looking pretty on that street. 2 doors down, Care Connect has painted that building completely white, and their lettering is up, and it's black, and it's beautiful.
It's
very
eye-catching.
But it's very eye-catching.
Yeah.
And then the Southern Living is next, and that whole row just really catches your eye. And if you come in from into Buena Vista from Ellaville or come straight across the red light from Americas, you're seeing like, wow. The mural on, it just kind of leads you in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really fun. We've had a lot of people that have told us, man, it's looking good over here. We're happy to visit. Everybody circles around the square, visits the coffee club, the dime store. Comes down 4th Avenue to Wells and Welch, and it's just interesting to see the movement.
Welcome to Front Porch Chats, the official podcast of Flint Energies, your electric cooperative. Each episode, we take you inside the work we do at Flint Energies to serve our members, strengthen our communities, and support the organizations and events that help our service area thrive. From energy and technology to education and community partnerships, this season highlights the people and programs powering Middle and Southwest Georgia. Grab a glass of iced tea while we chat for a spell. I'm your host, Natalie Bradley, and we have a fun little mini-series for you on the podcast in January and into February on our Rural Murals program. We have Marion McLemore, who, of course, is the Vice President of our Cooperative Communications Department. And we also have Faye Wells with us from Buena Vista in Southwest Georgia. Welcome. We are so excited. Yes, this is going to be a good conversation. So we're talking all about our rural murals that we have across our service area. And Buena Vista's mural went in, what year was it?
2022.
So, gosh, I can't believe it's been that long. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. It just keeps speeding up. So Buena Vista's mural went in just a little over 3 years ago then. It has gotten a lot of traction, a lot of media coverage. I feel like it's been in all sorts of magazines. And we've seen it on the news, I think. There's been several outlets. Faye just keeps sending us links, and she's like, check this out. We're here and here and here. So we just wanted to cover a few things because we know that people are listening and they're interested in possibly having a mural go up in their community. They want to know what it was like, what was the impact, all those awesome things that public art can do for a community. Marion brought up when we were preparing for today's episode that Buena Vista's mural is really special because it was not an application from a government. So it wasn't from the city of Buena Vista. It was from a private entity. Faye, can you tell us about your experience with that? Like, who applied for the mural and why did you guys apply?
Okay, so from the beginning, I think when the first murals went in, we just thought that was the coolest thing ever, that it was in the rural communities and highlighting the areas. And we were like, oh my gosh, that would be so exciting to have in Buena Vista, possibly. And we were like, I wonder if the city will do that. Who will do that? And all of a sudden, well, about the same time as our sons really acquired the building that the mural is on, a friend of mine said, hey, get the grant for that building. It's a beautiful building. It has high visibility. I'm like, oh, let me check. I thought it had to be a government. And we found out it can be private landowners. And so Jay and I just started the process and gathered up one winter Saturday and kind of put it all together and got our dream together, had input actually from a lot of people when we decided to do the longleaf, forest. And we got people to input with us. We had meetings with our artists. Chris Johnson, well, that was actually when we got the grant. But before that, the Nature Conservancy, the Forestry Department, we just had a lot of people say, well, if you're going to represent the longleaf forest, and you may want to include the history of the turpentine industry in the area, include this, include that. So we gathered up pictures of animals and plants, and I scanned in probably more pictures than anybody's ever. And ours actually turned out to be one of the larger ones too, but it's panoramic. It's almost 3D, and it actually is 3D because we were able to add the botanical gardens, the wildlife gardens later on. But it was just, it's just a process from a lot of people in the community at the beginning of when our downtown was starting to be revitalized. We were getting a lot of attention from different stakeholders and a lot of partners, University of Georgia and across the state, economic development. It was everything was kind of just beginning, and the mural just kind of came along at a really good time as we kind of put it all together, and we're blessed to receive that grant and have Chris come spend the summer with us painting it, and, it's really had high visibility as well.
Marion, most of our applicants have been like cities or development authorities or something along those lines, right?
That is correct. We've had, downtown development authorities, Chamber of Commerce, Keep, Roberta, Crawford County Beautiful,
Mhm.
organizations like that have been the ones to most apply for the rural mural grants.
And I think that probably most people assume that you have to be a government or quasi-governmental agency because, like, the Georgia Council for the Arts and other programs like that, they have these amazing grants for public art installations, but you do have to meet certain requirements for those that are very different from ours. We're not a government grant, so I often joke around, there's not nearly as much red tape because those government grants can be a little scary, and have a lot of red tape attached. So, Marion has done such a great job of making it very accessible and
Oh,
very
yeah.
straightforward, I think. So, having been through the process as well as you, Faye, like, it really
Right,
is not bad,
right.
right?
No, it is not bad. I mean, actually, the application, very simple to do. We took care of supplying that taxes were paid. Jay did some history on the building that, of course, that's his specialty. And, I think setting up the design took the most part, but, we worked over that over a good length of time. Even after we received the grant, we were able to finalize it. Yes,
Yeah.
it's very easy.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be easy, but we also wanted some skin in the game,
Mhm.
as I'd like to say. You have to do some due diligence in making sure that the property taxes are up to date, that the condition of the wall that the mural is going to be painted on is in good shape. There are a few things, a few boxes that we need to check before we can actually officially award a grant to a community. You don't have to, the building doesn't have to be county or city owned. It could be a private business owner. You could apply if you can gather up enough, interest within your community. Could be, the downtown business owners, or it could be someone that just really loves their hometown, which I think is in the case of you, Faye. And it could be, historical societies or whatever, civic club,
Mhm.
whatever, anyone that is just passionate about revitalizing their community can apply.
Right.
How do you feel like the mural has impacted Buena Vista? So you referenced, the downtown's going through this revitalization process. So if people are not familiar with Buena Vista, like talk about how is this playing into that and how has it helped change for the better in your downtown?
We are about to have, the enhanced sidewalks to come through, and we're gonna have sort of like parks along the street, and it's going to encourage walking more. As you come into Buena Vista, about let's see, two directions. If you come into the red light, you see our mural from a great distance. It kind of draws you in. We have
Yeah.
actually had people to come into our office and we have said, "Have you seen the mural?" They're like, "Oh, yes, we saw it coming in." And they're like, "Yeah, we were part of that." And in our closing room, we show them some turpentine artifacts that go along with it and everything. We had a young teacher tell us not too long ago that her students did a project related to the mural, and just school children always report seeing it on the bus. They have their favorite animal and everything.
Gosh, Marion, we
Yeah.
should do like a feature on that teacher. That is
Yes.
cool.
Oh,
That's
Yes.
yes.
awesome.
I love
Yes.
it.
We had no idea, but she had done a whole project. The funniest thing not too long ago, this is, I guess, kind of random, but the hardware store, let's see now. It was Tyler Automotive for so many years, and now it's Young Automotive. They have a new family has come in on that street since the mural was placed there, and they have started selling, I believe it's seed, feed, I'm not sure, but someone took a picture of pallets just laid out along in front of the mural, and it went all over Facebook, and I thought, I hope people don't think that's where you shop. I think they just use the background of the world to display these new items, but okay. We're happy for them to be a part. So they're a new business along that street, and the funny thing is, I mean, we talk about what's developing around it and has the mural spurred it on. We're not sure, but it really is looking pretty on that street. 2 doors down, Care Connect has painted that building completely white, and their lettering is up, and it's black, and it's beautiful.
It's
It's very
eye-catching.
but it's very eye-catching,
Yeah.
and then the Southern Living is next, and that whole row just really catches your eye, and if you come in from into Buena Vista from Ellaville or come straight across the red light from Americas, you're seeing, like, wow, I mean, the mural on, it just kinda leads you in,
Mhm.
so, that's been really fun. We've had a lot of people that have told us, "Man, it's looking good over here. We're happy to visit." Everybody circles around the square, visits the coffee club, the dime store, comes down 4th Avenue to Wells and Welch, and just, it's just interesting to see the movement, and when Care Connect opens, because 'cause they're not quite open, it's gonna be even more. We actually have pretty strong confirmation that we will have a new person in the building on the corner of 4th Avenue, so that's gonna be right down from the mural, that's gonna open a service business in
Ooh,
January. That's very exciting,
that is exciting. So
and
they
we
should be
have
open by the time this airs. That's great.
yes, yes, on the
Wonderful.
Broad Street and 4th Avenue.
Okay.
We've had some interest in our Texaco building, which we restored, which has been empty for a little while, but it's always pretty to look at, so you just never know, things are moving and moving along.
Yeah. And just a few years ago, I guess it was during COVID. I mean, that strip that you're talking about, it wasn't blighted, but it was just tired.
It was tired.
It needed
It
some
was
love.
needing a refreshment, it was needing some attention, and a lot has happened. The Young Automotive, they have done some sprucing up on their front, as well as expanding toward the back, and it's been cool to see other buildings having a facelift, and
Yeah.
Wells and Welch down from us, they've changed their facade too, so down 4th Avenue, so it's been really picking up.
That's exciting. Well, and like a lot of rural towns, maybe across America, I would think that that would be very similar. But, they started popping up, a couple hundred years ago or less, but usually around the railroad routes. But they were very primitive in nature if you really think about the history of most of these places. There obviously wasn't electricity when they were first popping up. There wasn't running water in a lot of these cases for quite some time. And so they didn't have the sidewalks and those kind of aesthetics that you think about welcoming, Hallmark kind of feeling town. That
Mhm.
didn't happen until a lot later, or at least it was only happening pretty much in urban areas. So all these revitalization efforts that are happening if people are not familiar with growing up or living for a long time in rural Georgia. That's just the way it was. I mean, it was just a different way of life because the money was just simply not there. There were no grants for,
Right.
sidewalks and beautification and projects like that. So it's nice to be able to pour this love into, these small communities that matter. And, you need those shade trees so that you can have a break from the sun in the summer and want to, stroll down the street to go do some shopping. So I'm excited to see that come together for Buena Vista, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time for these things to happen.
Oh, yes,
So,
it does take time, and we're also blessed to have our courthouse square. We're built around the courthouse square,
yeah.
if people know that, and there's lawn there. I remember when Chris was painting the mural, he said people would sit on the
Yeah,
lawn, the courthouse, and
I love
eat their
it.
lunch and watch him. I think he had quite the following over here,
Yes.
but it's got a great start, like you said. It needs to continue to get the attention. Maybe we need a couple more murals.
Yes, you
I'm
do.
waiting for those applications.
I know the place to
I
apply.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, no, but yeah, we're coming along, we're coming along.
I
People
love
come
that.
and visit from I'm always surprised where they're visiting from. We had a lot of people coming through that were hunting and gathering their families last week, eating at the coffee club, tags from everywhere.
Yeah.
That's been kinda fun,
That's
yeah.
very exciting. All right. So Marion is an artist. We've talked about this on several of our episodes. Our
Yes.
most listened to podcast is about rural murals. It was our very first podcast that we ever recorded on Front Porch Chats. And so this is kind of like the refresh. This is the facelift version of that episode because that was before I learned how to edit out all the ums and all the fluff words. So
Thank you.
I think that it's so Faye mentioned about how this teacher did this really cool project, and we are so going to find that teacher about, what she did with the mural. But Marion is a true artist. You've talked about many times how you want to spark the love for art in others, whether that's walking down the street, beautifying downtown, or getting children and adults excited about creating art. So, like, how does that make you feel, Marion, to hear that? Like, we didn't know.
No, I'm a little verklempt, I
Yes.
guess is a good word to say. That just warms my heart so much, to have, someone else be influenced by that one mural.
Yeah.
And to spark that love of art in the next generation because so dark and gray and dreary and there's not a whole lot of positivity it seems like but if we could just get kids to be more creative and color our world and you know light and kindness and all the things just having them notice.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just imagine being one of those kids on the bus and like, "Oh, I can't wait to see the squirrel today,"
Yeah. Yes.
or see the butterfly because
Well, yeah.
that's my favorite part of the day because I get to see it. I have that childlike wonder and I can feel that enthusiasm. And if we can make that enthusiasm grow into the adults maybe in the community or just spread that enthusiasm with those kids, because, that mural is probably the closest thing these kids will ever get to see of art in a small town.
Yeah.
They can't possibly go to the museum in Columbus or the High Museum in Atlanta or, the Louvre in Paris. I mean, we're bringing some of that art to the masses. And one of our board members, Pat Brasky here in Warner Robins, he said the murals are like the stained glass windows for the masses, essentially. Back when churches were built, there were so many folks that were illiterate, did
Mhm.
not know how to read the Bible, but the story was told in the stained glass window. The Christ's birth or, his crucifixion or David and Goliath or whatever, those stories were told in pictures. That's what the murals are today. They're stories that we're telling through pictures to our communities. And so I don't know, it just
I
warms my
know.
heart. I'm so excited. I mean, I almost about to cry.
Yes. It
Um,
gave me cold chills all over and it just made tears prick because, like,
yes,
how many times have you talked about this is exactly what you want to have happen, and then Faye walked right through the door and announced all this amazing. I mean, it's so small, but it's so big. Like, that's the whole
yes,
point.
yes.
It could be the basis of a whole curriculum, actually.
Yes. We need
Mhm.
to talk to that teacher about a Bright Ideas grant too.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely. And
I'm
I'm
not
just
sure if she
thinking
received
too,
one.
what other murals are, like in Fort
Yes.
Valley. I mean, there's history lessons in one of them
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
because it's all the celebrities from that particular community in that one mural. That could be a whole history
What a
lesson or
great
lessons.
tie-in. Yes.
And I feel like just down the road in Ellaville, there's history told in their mural, and there's a
Oh, yeah.
history told in the Marshallville mural and in Butler and all the communities that we have murals in.
Yes.
There's a sense of history there that can be told maybe in a different way. This is so exciting.
I
I'm
love
sorry.
it. I know, like,
Yes.
it's like that's like the most beautiful little gem you just dropped for us
It's just like
today.
an early Christmas present.
It is. It is.
One thing that I think is important, and Jay and I really put some thought into what we would put on a mural. Would we present the athletic accomplishments? Would we talk about Josh Gibson, the famous baseball player from here? Which way would we go? And when we settled on the long leaf, he said, the forest and the industry has just had such an overwhelming impact, economic
Mhm.
impact on the area. And then the depiction of it would be, would teach and also be a beautification point in the community, that it would just that's the choice that we made that would bring it all together. And it's just really fun when you think about it, when you sit together with whoever's planning with you, of what you would like to ask for, what you would dream to be applied to your wall or your silo or your board or whatever piece that it's going to go on to. It's just exciting to think about your community and the positive aspects of it and what would be the thing to choose. And as we're recording, I'm looking at a wall that would be another good place for a mural. It doesn't have
Yay!
quite the visibility, but it's a big responsibility to pick what goes there
Yeah.
because it's going to be there, It's not going to
Mhm.
go away, and we get them coated so that they're protected, and you really want people to enjoy and to learn from it. So it's just a really cool, it's just such a wonderful project that Flint does, and we're just grateful to be a part of it.
I would say that I really commend Faye and Jay for their vision for that mural in Buena Vista, because not only did they go after the Flint grant, I believe that they worked with the Nature Conservancy to get some extra funds to make it just a little bigger, I think was what was discussed at one point. I don't know if that actually happened, but we had they had really just used their resources to make the mural come to fruition, but they also, what else can we add to it to make it even
Right,
better?
right. The Nature
And
Conservancy with Luann Creighton especially has brought her knowledge to the table for what would go on the mural, and we've also partnered with them on our Federal Road Heritage Park that came
Mhm.
along last year, that you guys were a part of with us. And yeah, we are always working with our partners and valuing their input financially and their knowledge and their dream. And we're so blessed to be where we are. We're kind of in the center of several economic areas, kind of a little bit of a crossroads. We don't have a 4 lane. At that one red light, a lot of traffic comes
A
through
lot
here,
comes through there.
pass through. Kinda centrally located with the river valley and a lot of things, and we've worked with the University of Georgia with the Propel program the past couple years, and Botanical Gardens has guided us with our plants and supplied plants for us along the mural. Just that we it's just hard to even list all the good things that have come, our way, that we're just lucky to take advantage of.
Well, Faye, thank you so much for sharing your experience in applying for the grant, working through it, and seeing how it's impacted Buena Vista. And for all of you listening, if you ever drop by Buena Vista and you go to Coffee Club, chances are you're going to run into Jay and Faye Wells coming to the coffee club to get a little something to drink or eat. Every time I'm in town, I run into you guys, like almost literally. So, it's
We're
just a
all
really yeah, it's a great place to come together and make sure that you stop in and look at the mural. So, we are excited to see your applications come through, and make sure that you check the show notes, because we are linking to the application and all the important information that you need about applying, and you can go there to find more details and see the email that you need to contact for any additional questions. So thank you again, Faye. Thank you, Marion.
Thank
thank
you.
you, Natalie. We appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed today's chat. Don't forget to visit flintenergies.com, and you can learn more about your electric cooperative. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all the ways we're serving our members and our communities. Be sure to share this podcast with a friend, and if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a 5-star review. It helps others find the show. Talk to you next time.